Yeah, g'day guys, Pro Bricky here. I'm going to ask you straight up, subscribe to the channel and like the videos. Also, we have a Facebook page. Some of you guys are coming from over there to get some of this life information on female nature and the dark side of it. Life tips, life hacks and other stuff. So subscribe and press the bell for the channel and you'll be notified when other videos come up. I'm trying to make the content worth it, worth your time and worth your trouble. But I've got a doozy. We've been following this lady called Lauren and what she did when she just decided to have an affair. But I think I've found the answer. She probably won't admit it. Not sure. You might not agree, but this is definitely the answer to why she cheated. So let's get started.
Okay, so this post is for people who keep asking to hear the rest of the story of how I ever ended up with my husband.
Isn't social media gold when you're trying to learn about female nature? I mean, they just get on here and they tell it all. There's no need for her to do this, really. She don't know these people. But again, it is therapeutic. It's very therapeutic for these people and myself as well to get on and share your thoughts on things and your experiences and heal from there.
Um, if anyone is listening to this just to tell me more about how cheating's bad and you're just making excuses, please scroll past. This is just story time.
Okay, so she's obviously getting a lot of flack from her videos because, I mean, people, it can tread on people's corns, all cheating and that. But again, let's see. This is story time. Let's see what sort of a story she's going to tell. I reckon there'll be some gems in this for people that want to learn about the mind of somebody that cheats and what could cause it to happen.
Okay, so after I graduated college, I moved back home, and this was one of those times where my ex-husband and I were both out of relationships, and so we started hanging out again. A lot of people have said, "Were you guys cheating on people during those 12 years?" No, it was just whenever neither of us were in relationships that we would come back together.
Well, you can believe that or not. It's up to you to believe that or not. A lot of time when the Chad comes along, they'll just dump whoever they're with or slide. Well, let's work this out. Let's work this out. She slid behind her husband's back. So what makes you think for 1 minute that she wouldn't have slid behind the boyfriend's back to get the Chad? She wanted to marry the guy. So I don't fully believe her here. I don't fully believe she can tell me to get stuffed, but the definitely she dropped everything for the Chad. She was going to go to bed with the husband under any circumstance before she was married to him because he was the excite. He was the one that she wanted but couldn't get. But God help him after she got him because she ate him for breakfast, didn't she? Watch this. Oh no.
Um, and this was like the first time ever we were really actually date. Like we went on our first actual date. This was circa 2013, beginning of 2014.
So this is going to tell you something about this girl. I mean, whenever this Chad appeared, she'd get on her back. She'd let him have it. She'd be into him. So it wouldn't matter who she was with. If this guy popped up, she was on her back because he was the one that she couldn't get.
But then he broke things off with me. And
And this is the clincher, guys. This is the clincher. This is the part that she never forgave. This is the part that caused her, after she got to marry him, to do the same thing to him that he had been doing to her, and that was abandoning him. There was no way she was going to get out of doing this. She just didn't have the character. She was going to pay this guy back one way or another. She says it's not payback. Call it what you want. She definitely had a grudge. She definitely had deep-seated resentment, and due to the way in which she's been dumped again, and then he goes and marries someone else, there was no way he was going to get away with this. You watch.
I was really, really bummed.
Okay, she was really hit hard. This really affected her. And if you look at those eyes, mate, it was going to be, yeah, there was no way she was going to get around one way or another trying to resolve this in her mind. And I think the way she tried to resolve it was to do the same thing to him as he done to her, but it didn't work. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Um, I didn't really understand why. We later had conversations, and he explained why. But ultimately, he had hung out with somebody else. He had had lunch or something with.
Right, so he done exactly what she did to him. Who do you think she learnt from? He was hanging out with, he was obviously had orbiters and options, and he was using them. She wasn't as special as she thought. This is really sad for her. Obviously, this guy's been abusing her because he's just been popping up whenever it suited him. She's catered to that. This is a classic Chad example where she was just dropping the guys that she was with to be with this guy, ultimately only to do the same thing to him as what he did to her. This is just the classic lack of character scenario here, and it's really sad, and it's happening all the time.
Someone else from high school,
and she would have known this girl, possibly, whether it was from high school. They went to the same high school, so she would have known this girl. So can you imagine the bitterness and resentment towards him for doing this? But remember, he was the Chad. He was the one that she couldn't have but wanted. So you've got to understand how this works. I mean, these women have friends, boyfriends, right? And they just let them come and go, but they haven't got that deep-seated desire. This guy, this man that she was, really had a mindset on that she couldn't get, that's what kept it going, the fact that she couldn't get him. She kept putting things to the side every time he popped up. We don't know how many guys this Sheila ditched to get this guy's dick. So what it actually did was form a certain element of behaviour, which was, I'll do what I have to get what I want.
They hit it off.
They hit it off. And guess what happened when she was on the internet texting the other bloke that she had the affair with? They hit it off. But guess what? It didn't have the same impact as what the husband had, and the husband caught her out. I mean, this woman would feel like an absolute fool, because she is. She has been an absolute fool.
And they got married.
And not only that, they got married. Guess who wanted to marry him? She did. And she'll sit there and say, well, that, it's not a revenge affair. It may not be a revenge affair, but it was an affair birthed out of bitterness and resentment and hurt because of what he did to her at this point by going off with another woman. So obvious.
And he was gone again.
Oh, and he was gone again. That's called, what's that called? Abandonment. He abandoned her. People don't get over that stuff. You don't just go, oh, well, then that's that. Oh, no. People don't forget that kind of thing, man. She would have been really upset, really hurt. But against that, remember, this was the guy that she couldn't get. Women want the guy that they can't get. They want the bad boy. And this was him. This was the golden prize. This was the golden fleece.
Bummed is an understatement. I was depressed for months. Which isn't the point. So this wasn't like...
Well, it smashed her. Now she's going to try and wipe that away by saying this wasn't a revenge affair later on. You want to make a bet? Come on, guys. You can't listen to everything they say. The facts are there. The storyline's there. She never really got over this, man. She should never have married this bloke. Because underneath she despised him for what he did to her. She couldn't.
revenge cheating. I'm talking about unhealed things in me that probably most likely led to the cheating.
Yeah, so the hurts and the resentments and the bitternesses and the spite and the scorn wasn't enough to stop her from marrying him because she had a payback. I don't care what people say or what you think. There was payback, and I'm going to, I want to love this bloke, but it was once she got into his nest, once she got into his crib, there was something that drove her to do the same thing to him as he did to her. Absolute disaster.
But in that time, I moved out of my parents' house. I bought my first place. I got into a relationship, I think maybe like 10 months after that.
Which obviously didn't go too well, because as soon as the Chad popped back up, here we go again. She drops everything and goes with the Chad. She'll say, well, somebody asks her, were you having an affair behind your boyfriend and girlfriend's back? I think it was earlier. You bet. Because whenever this guy popped up, no different to when she went and had the affair, her pants were down, man.
And life moved on. And then...
life moved on with a lot of hurt, a lot of resentment, and a lot of bitterness and spite and scorn. And now watch this. Now this happens to a lot of you blokes. You meet a Sheila, everything's going along fine, and all of a sudden you get dumped. Why do you think? The ex-boyfriend comes back. The Chad comes back. Watch this. Watch this.
Almost a solid 3 years later, very end of 2016, I got a friend request from him.
And you don't think she had a boyfriend? Look at the glare in her eyes. Look at the sullenness in her eyes. I got a friend request from him. Watch this. You don't reckon she had a boyfriend, guys? She kicked the boyfriend to the curb, and guess what?
And I went on his page, and I saw that he was separated.
Boing.
And so I reached out and asked what happened. And that's not my story to tell. But anyways, they broke up, and we got together.
Again. Now, put 2 and 2 together here, guys. She would have been straight on her back, whether he was still with that girl or not. And this was her chance.
For real, like all the way.
And I went and had an affair. Say it.
It went really fast. We started dating.
He would have had her straight on her back. I mean, I can't understand this woman. Honestly.
January 1st of 2017, and
she was bonking this guy, and he didn't have to be dating her. I mean, she's idolized this guy to the point where she's going to destroy him.
Married by May 5th of 2018, and
I had an affair.
I was so happy to finally have him.
Now get it.
Anyways, that's how we got together.
Get it. I finally got what I wanted. And once she got the prize, guess what? She has an affair. All the resentment, all the bitterness, all the scorn, all the feelings of abandonment. It was now her chance to put them back on him. Whether she was conscious of that or not. And there's the answer to the riddle, guys. This is Pro Bricky. Subscribe, press the like button, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.